Hello. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us live on X. I'm Alesia Haas, CFO of Coinbase, and I'm here with our co-founder and CEO, Brian Armstrong. So we are excited to connect directly with you, our customers, our community, our shareholders, to talk about our company progress and priorities and answer some questions. This is a live conversation, and we're going to be covering both pre-submitted questions and taking questions real time. So we're not going to answer when we're going to launch a certain token, any specific customer cases, any personal questions, things like that. But if there's something on your mind that's product, that is financial, that is industry related, drop your questions in the chat. I have to do my legal disclaimer and remind everyone that during our call, we may make a forward-looking statement, more likely me, which may vary materially from actual results. Information concerning risks, uncertainties, and other factors that could cause these results to differ is included in our SEC filings. All right. Now, I just want to share one fun thing before we get started. And this is an update on an earnings-related challenge that we issued. So I'm going to share my screen. As we continue to search for top talent to join Coinbase, and specifically in our finance team, Andrew Lackus, one of our finance managers, conceived of a revenue challenge for potential interns or new college grads. And we launched a revenue forecast challenge. We asked participants to submit an estimate, a supporting financial model, and a write-up of their approach. I'm really happy to share that we received over 100 submissions, and 10 of them landed within 1% of our Q3 results, which were $1.869 billion of revenue for context. What was fascinating and amazing about this to me is that street estimates were off by 3%. So we had 10 submissions within 1%, and street was 3%. And I'm really pleased to share with you all right now that we had a winner in Tyler Rinsler. Tyler came in with our total revenue estimate within $1 million or 0.06%. So a truly phenomenal result. You can look at his LinkedIn post. You can see his detailed financial model. We will be announcing the rest of the winners this Friday and offering them a PlayStation 5 Pro and also an interview for a new grad or an intern position. So it was a really fun experiment that we ran, and I'm really pleased to see that we're just like continuing to find new talent. So I wanted to share that with everyone.
That was
all
cool.
Right, Brian, ready for some questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, number one from Not Stewie. Coinbase has continually expanded its scope, starting with Bitcoin trading to a fully fledged crypto platform. Over the next 5 years, how do you define what Coinbase will become, both for our customers and investors? What would be the ideal answer to the question, what is Coinbase 5 years from now?
Yeah, well, you're right. We do have a lot of scope at Coinbase. We're doing a lot of things. We launched initially to retail customers with just Bitcoin trading. We now have about 40,000 assets available to trade. We are not just serving retail customers, we're serving institutions. We're also building crypto infrastructure, where 264 institutions are now building crypto into their products, whether that's custody, trading, staking, financing, all kinds of payments, stablecoin payments that are building these into their applications on top of Coinbase. So we are doing a lot in our mission to update the financial system. And I'd say that in 5 years, what we really want to do is be the #1 financial service app in the world. And we think crypto can make unique products that are beneficial to customers. We're doing that right now with the Everything Exchange, where we're bringing every asset class onto one platform that you can trade in a one-stop shop. Over time, I think we're going to have the ability to be a bank replacement for many customers. We're seeing that already with, say, like DeFi Borrow Lend or Coinbase Card. Eventually, capital formation, all these kinds of things can happen on chain. And so, these are all really important developments. When I think about what can Coinbase uniquely do in the world toward that vision of being the #1 financial app in the world, we have the most trusted brand in crypto. And that means that people are storing far more crypto with us than any other company out there in the world. So they trust us, they're storing their crypto with us. If we have the products on the shelf that people want to trade, whether that's every asset class or every crypto asset with our DEX integration we did, which was put us in the lead there, or these US perpetual style futures that we were the first to launch. we have the trusted brand, we have the assets. If we put the products on the shelf, they are going to trade and use those products with us. And so our deep crypto expertise is also another huge asset here that we've really been able to leverage, and that's our goal.
Wonderful. All right, number 2, from Samuel Grizanzio. What upcoming customer experience improvements are you most excited about?
Yeah, so we've been making a bunch of investments in improving the customer experience in various ways. I mean, you may remember in the past year or so, we had a number of issues with account restrictions. There's a lot of regulations we follow in different countries all over the world. And sometimes the dials can get turned up so high that it actually makes it difficult for legitimate customers to come onto the platform, and they have to refresh their KYC or go through some enhanced due diligence process. And these can be, with good intentions, but they end up creating a worse customer experience. So this year we made enormous progress on that. The account restriction situation is dramatically better, and customers who have to go through this can, in a self-serve way, typically in a matter of seconds, just get through these flows. So we're meeting all of our compliance obligations, but have dramatically improved the customer experience. Customer support is another big area that we get feedback on, and we've made big investments in. So partially we are using AI to try to give people more timely answers and fast responses, but we also want to make sure that they can talk to a human whenever they really want to, right? And we launched actually a concierge service that's baked into the mobile app. And so there's someone who you can get in touch with that way. The last one I'd say we're investing more and more in is product quality. For better or worse, we do have a tendency to kind of move fast at Coinbase, and that's good in terms of getting good execution, speed of execution. But we also need to make sure we're hitting a really high quality bar. And so there's a number of ways that you can measure that. People look at like customer satisfaction scores in these surveys in the app, like a CSAT score or an NPS. You can also just look at how often error rates are happening in the app, or there's kind of this intangible about, are you creating moments of delight in the product with good design? And I think actually like the Coinbase One card that launched recently hit a really like a high bar for us in terms of quality and delight. And everything from the packaging of the app to the onboarding experience to the details of the actual pixels in the app itself, not just the physical card, people really loved it. I think it was one of the best designed products that we've launched recently. And so we're making big investments to bring that kind of quality bar throughout their entire product.
Third question from Coinbase Duck. I think this was paraphrased a little bit for us because he gave some great examples here, but he considers 2025 to be the year that Coinbase finally came on chain. And he wants to let us find out what we think about our journey to get on chain. What has worked really well? What do we wish we would have done sooner or more of? And then last, what didn't work well? So let's start with the good things. What do you think worked best about our journey to get on chain?
Yeah, well, thanks for noticing that. I mean, we definitely are making a big push to bring the whole company on chain. And that means launching products that have the benefits of on chain, but the customer doesn't really have to be burdened with the difficulty of it, right? We sometimes call this lovingly the DeFi mullet, right? It's a simple interface in the front, but underneath it's doing DeFi. And examples of this are our retail DEX integration. So for decentralized exchanges, this allowed us in Q3 to go from maybe about 300 assets that people could trade to about 40,000, right? Eventually, this will be millions. And so just the asset coverage dramatically expanded. We're able to give people really good rates now when they want to lend out their Bitcoin or borrow money with crypto. And we're using DeFi protocols underneath, in this case called Morpho. And those products have been growing really, really well. We also launched things like verified pools, which is like a way to have on-chain liquidity for institutional participants that want to have certain KYC requirements. We acquired Liquify and Echo, which are helping with on-chain capital formation, which we think is an exciting area. So I could keep going down this list. One of the key enabling pieces of technology that made this possible is something called embedded wallets. And what this allowed us to do was actually create the equivalent of like a self-custodial wallet in our retail app. And the customer doesn't have to manage that as a separate wallet. They don't even have to really think about it too much, but it allows them to participate in these on-chain protocols. By the way, we made this technology available to any developer out there through Coinbase Developer Platform or CDP. And you can go in there and look at the embedded wallet service. That's the same service that we're using in our own retail product. in the new Base app as well. And anybody can now use it in CDP. So it's kind of cool how we're exposing some of this infrastructure to the world. So yeah, and I mean, in terms of what we could have done sooner, I think, well, I'm really excited about the launch of the new Base app. That's our self-custodial wallet that's just fully, on-chain, decentralized. That there's a lot of benefits that can bring in terms of making onboarding a lot easier. And so it also helps us launch in a bunch of markets around the world that are a little harder to launch, like a regulated financial service business. So it has this kind of emerging market quality to it. So anyway, I think we probably could have done that sooner. The original Coinbase wallet app, we didn't quite get to the simplified onboarding of, just put in an email and you're in. We still had these kind of 12-word phrases you had to remember and things. So I think we could have done that faster, but luckily the new Base app will be coming out of beta soon, and I think we'll have that fixed.
What about the fact that we have USDC on multiple underlying protocols and showing them in the app as USDC on Ethereum, USDC on Base? What do you think about like simplifying and making these things easier to use? Do you wish we would have done that sooner?
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, bridging between these different chains where you have USDC on multiple different L2s or chains, that was like a terrible customer experience. So I do think we should see more consolidation of order books, dollar balances, and again, people want to have the benefits of crypto, but they don't always want to have to understand what's happening underneath. So I think we can do a better job there.
The other thing that I think we wish we would have done sooner, and I'm really proud that we're doing it now, is asset recovery. It used to be if you sent your crypto to the wrong wallet and you would lose it forever. And we're doing a much better job now with certain assets that we can recover things that we thought were lost or frozen for customers. And I think that's been a big innovation that we've done on chain.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Based Amy 0x. What role do you envision Base playing in Coinbase's overall ecosystem in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, well, I'll start off here, and Alesia, feel free to jump in too. But so with my Coinbase CEO hat on, Coinbase is chain agnostic. We love it when lots of new chains get created. As long as our customers want it, we're going to integrate every chain out there, and if it meets our legal requirements. Now, we also run Base, which is the largest layer 2 out there. And that is with my Base hat on, and actually Jesse, who runs Base on the executive team, has this hat on 100% of the time, but I have it part of the time. We want Base to go out there and win. And so that means that we're going to have to make it the fastest, cheapest, most global payment rail, which by many measures it already is. And I think that we're seeing more of these L1s come out recently that are kind of payment-focused chains. And I'm not really seeing like a strong technical difference why those need to exist, to be honest. Base is already great for payments. Oftentimes, trading and payments go hand in hand, right? If you want to send a payment to someone and you have USDC and they want Tether, like an FX transaction has to happen underneath, that is trading, right? And so I think these general purpose chains are actually where a lot of the utility is going to happen. On Base, you can already pay gas fees with things like stablecoins. We're working on private transactions on Base. We acquired Ironfish, a company, to do that earlier this year. And we're not really seeing any limits to scaling of Base at this point. We oftentimes will limit how fast we're reducing the fees just so we don't get tons of spam on the network. But we just recently made an upgrade there, and we're seeing more scale. We're not seeing a limit to scaling yet. So I think in terms of Base chain, we have a chance there to be the leading chain globally. And it's a little bit like Google having Android, right? Like Google products need to work on iOS as well. So Coinbase is going to be chain agnostic. We're going to work on every chain that our customers want. But we also have Base. And so we're going to try to make sure that works well too. Now, we also have Base app, right?
Can I pause on the chain for a second? Do you mind if I pause here? One of the things I would think about to reframe this question, the question was, do we envision Base? What role do we envision Base playing in Coinbase's ecosystem? I have a vision that Base is playing a role in the broader crypto ecosystem that we are all going to be building, because we are really working towards decentralization of Base, where we want to encourage everybody to develop on the Base chain, because as Brian said, we want it to be the fastest, the most global, the cheapest, the easiest to use, and to have configurability. And we're already having optional privacy that we're working to configure it. So if you want to send a private transaction, you can do that. But I think the more configurability, we're just getting started with what Base can do. And we're really pleased to see it be adopted by so many developers and so many apps. that we think it's a utility for the ecosystem, not just Coinbase. And that's the role that we really envision it having as an ecosystem play in the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, that's true. Base is decentralizing, and everyone should be able to build on Base. And so we want to help it be successful, but it's a platform everybody should be able to build on a level playing field. So yeah, that's very important. Yeah, we should mention too that Base app is coming out of beta, and hopefully very soon here. We've got over 1 million people on the wait list. That's, of course, our self-custodial wallet, and much lower friction for onboarding. And you can just imagine, I think just zooming out here, we have pieces at every layer of the stack now, right? We've got the chain, Base chain. We've got a trusted stablecoin with USDC. We've got a wallet with the Base app coming out. We have retail customers, we have business customers. And so when you have this kind of vertical integration, it allows us to create unique customer experiences. Like, we were able on Shopify to make a really seamless checkout experience with Base Pay, giving 1% cash back to people who pay with that. So, these pieces are all coming together, and I think Coinbase is uniquely positioned to create these just better customer experiences with this vertical integration.
Next question, Brian. Which book has had significant impact on the way you see the world? And what's an underrated blog that you love?
Okay, cool. Good question. I mean, Alesia, actually, I'm curious to hear yours as well. But interesting books people can check out. Atlas Shrugged is a good book. It's kind of a classic, and it celebrates builders. It's also very prescient because you're reading it, and sometimes you see things in the news, like in present day, where you're like, oh my gosh, it's almost like she was writing about what's happening in present day. Like the train's not running on time or whatever. I'm also just interested in books out there about how civilizations rise and fall, and how crypto can help create better countries over time. We've kind of unbundled money from the state. How might there be new network states or special economic zones over time where freedom can really persist and we can drive forward innovation? So you can go read Ray Dalio's Changing World Order book. You can go read Lee Kuan Yew's, the founder of Singapore. He has a great book called From Third World to First, which talks about how he really truly built like a new country. Of course, Balaji's Network State book is kind of foundational. The principle, at least behind it, I think is great. And in terms of blogs, I actually realized I don't read that many blogs anymore. I think occasionally you'll see good blog posts that get shared on X or these other platforms or in private message groups, and that's where I'll go read it. But there's not like a dedicated blog that I go to anymore. It's usually more like, X, private chats on messaging apps, and podcasts. So anyway, I think we've entered a different era, at least for me, where going to a dedicated blog over and over again is not the way I consume information. But yeah, I don't know. Alesia, any good books that you...
I don't get recipes from blogs anymore, but I do find some good recipe blogs. Okay. I love your history books. I read financial history books. What caused things to fail. One of my favorite books in that genre is The Lords of Finance. This one. I have this one right here. This is a great book. Read it if you're in finance. And then the other genre of books I like to read, I have this book that made the biggest impression on me probably like 15 years ago, and it was called How Children Succeed. It's by Paul Tough. And it just my mind was blown when I read it. It was all just about how grit, curiosity, just keep going is what drives character and what drives success in life. And it didn't matter if I went to a fancy school. It didn't matter if I went to, the right things. It was just can I endure? And that it was filled with data and science, and I just loved it. And it really has made a big impact about how I hire talent, how I think about talent, how I raise my kids. And so that was a fun one for me. All right. Time 7, MDI. Brian, how bullish are you on X402?
Yeah, I mean, X402 is great. If any of you haven't seen it, it's an open protocol that we released, and it allows you to attach a small payment to any web request. So this could be for AI agents talking to each other or sourcing information out there in the world, or it could be for AI agents to go complete commerce on your behalf. In the past, if you wanted to get through a paywall on the internet, usually you have to sign up, create an account, put in your credit card. And so this gets rid of that entire process where any web request to get through a paywall whether it's an AI or a human trying to do it, I guess, could have this small crypto payment attached to it. And it supports any chain and any crypto asset, but a lot of people are using USDC on Base with small transactions to go get through, the world, even like machine to machine type payments where one AI agent is talking to another. So anyway, a lot of really exciting progress just in the last month. It's kind of gone viral, and the number of transactions is just like rocketing up week over week. I think it grew like 5x week over week. So we're talking to lots of interesting companies coming in and thinking about building on the X402 platform, or the protocol, I should say. The water is warm. It's welcome for anyone to come in and build on it. You don't have to use Coinbase tools, but Coinbase developer platform has a really simple integration for an X402 facilitator, it's called, if you want to spin up one of those services. So yeah, we'd love people to come check it out.
And while Brian said it is having a moment, this is not material to our financials, so I just need to put that important caveat out there.
Yes.
All right, Alpha, Chris X. Will Coinbase expand support for advanced order types like limit, stop loss, or conditional orders for more assets on the platform?
Yeah, well, we have been investing a lot in our advanced trading platform, and for a long time, you've been able to do limit orders and market orders, and but we've actually added some more recently. So, for instance, now you can do TWAP or time weighted average price. You can do bracket orders. You can do take profit and stop loss. I think the question asked about that. There's another type we added in called reduce only for perps. So, just in general, we've been making a lot of investments in our advanced trading tools. I think, in the past, people had concerns about account restrictions. That's largely been resolved now. And I'd say in the past, our advanced trader interface, if I'm being honest, was probably like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. It's gotten better and better. It's probably, I dare I say it's maybe getting closer to like a 9 or out of 10 or something like that. We still have more work to do. But for any advanced traders out there who haven't come and checked out the Coinbase platform recently, I invite you to come back and check it out again. It's gotten a lot better. And, we see that a lot of traders out there, they want to trade with Coinbase as the most trusted brand. That's where they often store their assets. We didn't quite have the product they wanted in the past, but I think we've gotten there now. And so, yeah, we can be the trusted counterparty for people all over the world. As a large public company, it's the safe place to store your assets. You might as well trade here as well.
Next one, Dahota SPS. Can you say more about how coin holders will benefit from a Base token?
Yeah, well, so we're still very early on exploring a Base network token. So we're not going to share any specifics on the timing or the tokenomics of it, or how exactly it might benefit. But just in broad strokes, our goal here with exploring a token is how can we bring a billion people on chain and get Base to be the #1 chain out there, not just on Ethereum as an L2, but just globally. We think this could be the utility layer for payments and prediction markets and borrow lend and all of DeFi, all the stable coins out there, and really for like all the builders and the creators in the ecosystem. So it's a way to attract those folks and help just make Base the leading chain. So we're still in a diligence phase. We're going to continue to talk to customers, investors, regulators, and make sure that it works for everyone, and we do it in a trusted and responsible way, just like always.
Amazing. All right, cracked alerts. How are you planning on growing outside the United States?
Okay. Yeah, so our international expansion playbook has evolved over time, and I think it's gotten better and better. I mean, just to give you an example, back in 2023, we launched in 4 markets. I think it was Australia, Singapore, Brazil, and Canada. And within 2 years, we had gotten those markets scaled to the point where we were actually covering our costs in those. And so that was a great playbook that we can now continue to do in more and more markets. We've done a lot of that year to date. Actually, like here, this year in 2025, we got a VASP license in the UK and in Argentina. In India, we got a license from the FIU. We now have our MiCA license in over 30 countries. So we've started to really get a repeatable playbook that's scaling on that dimension. And I guess the last point I'll just make on this is there's a sort of a smaller set of markets, let's say maybe 10 regions around the world. Like you might count the EU as one region, or Australia or Singapore. There's about the US, of course. There's about 10 markets that are big enough like that where it really justifies going deep in that market. And what we have to do is create a local entity. We get a local license. We get local bank partners. We actually build a local team, including engineers and product managers and designers, so that people who have a local bank account, a local ID, they speak the local language, they can make sure that our onboarding and our app feels like a local product in those markets. There's probably about 10 markets where it's really worth making all that investment to go be a regulated financial service business there. The other 150 or so countries, I think are going to be better served by self-custodial wallets, because you don't have to be regulated as a financial service business if you're not taking possession of customer funds. The self-custodial wallets, which in our case is the new Base app, which is coming out soon, that's going to be our way to go broad and get the other 150 countries. And so between our go deep markets, our go broad strategy with self-custodial, I think we'll have good global coverage. And that's how we plan to grow outside the US.
Next one, Eggman Capital. Has there been any progress on making perp trading available in the US?
Well, actually, yes. I mean, we launched CFTC. We were the first one actually to launch CFTC regulated perpetual style futures in the US. We also have them internationally with our international exchange. So that's now live. It's actually growing really, really well. I don't know if Alesia, you want to share any data from earnings on that, but yeah, it's being first to launch that in the US was a good move, and it's created a real opportunity for us.
And there's more to come on that front. All right, we're going to take one final question and then close this out. And Brian, this is a very serious question. Very serious question coming in, which is, what is our skincare routines?
I thought you said we weren't going to do any personal questions.
I know, somehow this one slipped in.
Mine is pretty basic. I did start using moisturizer probably about like 5 or 10 years ago. That was new. But before that, it was literally just soap and water. So I guess I'm still in the beginning stages here, but I don't know.
Sunscreen.
Alesia?
I'm all about sunscreen.
That's true. I do wear a lot of sunscreen if I go out in the sun.
Yeah, CeraVe. I'm a big drugstore girl. So, all right. Well, that wraps up our Q3 X Spaces. Thank you all for joining us today.
Yeah. Thanks, y'all.